Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Dear listeners, welcome back to Miskaath. You are with Maulana Mahomed Yusuf Chisti Sialwi. We've discussed a hadith in which Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam had given three qualities of a person, that if a person possesses these three qualities, he will taste the love of Iman. We've been through extensively with the first aspect. The second aspect is where a person takes a liking to another fellow brother, Muslim, male or female, simply for the sake of Allah and His Rasul. And doing that for the sake of Allah and seeking the pleasure of Allah, the person will taste the beauty and the wonders of Iman. Just to add to this second aspect, that we take a liking onto this dunya with various people for various reasons. Some people would like to associate themselves with a rich person so that he could get a job, so that he could get a contract for his business, for whatever the case may be. But this association and this love or attachment that he shows towards a person for this particular purpose, it's all regarded as dunya. You're doing it for the sake of this dunya, you're doing it for business purposes, you're doing it to just to achieve certain favors. Such friendship, such love, it is temporary. Because a love of this nature will come to an end and it will dissolve. But when you show love towards a person for the sake of Allah, that love will remain in this dunya, that love will help and assist you even in the year after. For instance, you show love towards a sheikh, a pious person. You show your love towards an alim deen. And you do it simply for the sake, because this person preaches Islam, this person practices Islam, this person is pious. Every action of his, it is the fear of Allah. He would make sure that every action of his coincides with the Quran and Hadith. Nothing he would do would be contrary to the Quran and Hadith. And you take a liking to a person. That love will both assist you here in this dunya and also in the akhirat. That love would not going to come to an end. Whereas when a person associates himself with any person of this dunya for the purpose of this dunya, that association would just last till the day when he takes his last breath. Thereafter, that association and that love will come to an end. Whereas the love for a pious person, the love for a fellow Muslim brother who is doing good, that association and that love will remain with him even when he leaves this dunya. In the day of Qiyamah, when they will resurrect, the believers will resurrect together. And they will be associated with their sheikh, with their pious leader, and they will be together. So this love that you show towards a fellow brother or a sister for the sake of the deen of Islam, for the sake of certain practices that the person does towards the deen of Islam, this love will help and assist him even after this dunya. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, "Man ahabba abdan illa yuhibbuhu illa lillah," that he loves him simply for the sake of Allah. That love will help and assist both in this dunya and in the hereafter. The last aspect of this hadith, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, وَمَن يَكْرَهُ أَن يَعُودَنِ الْكُفْرِ بَعْدَ أَنْ أَنْكَذَهُ اللَّهُ مِنْهُ كَمَا يُكْرَهُ أَن يُلْقَى فِي النَّارِ. That to leave the deen of Islam, it must be such an hated aspect or an act to a person, is like how a person would choose to jump into the fire. And no person in his sane mind would want to jump into a fire. Everyone is scared to do that. Nobody likes it. Everyone dislikes it. Everyone hates it. Who would want to, in his sane mind, want to jump into the fire? I said, no. If I jump into the fire, I'll be committing suicide. And I don't know whether I'm going to die immediately, but suffering with the burns that is going to affect me. All of these aspects come to the person's mind and he'll say, I am not going to jump into the fire. So the love for Islam must be of that nature that leaving Islam, becoming a murtad, and going towards another deen must be so hateful towards a believer, like how a person feels hateful and he feels discomfort when he is told that he has to jump into the fire. That's the type of iman a person must have. That's the type of mu'min a person should be. When he accepts Islam, he must enjoy every aspect of iman. He must enjoy the rulings of Islam. That for him now to leave the deen of Islam must be regretful. He must not like it, like how a person would not like to jump into the fire of hell. Remember, brothers, this type of love, this type of dedication, the Sahaba Ikram Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim ajma'een had showed this dunya, showed us that once they accepted Islam, they were punished to leave the deen of Islam. They were shown every type of distraction to leave the deen of Islam. But our Sahaba Ikram, our Mashayikh of the past, our Salaf Salihin had displayed such a love towards the deen of Islam that they were prepared to give their life, but they were not prepared to leave the deen of Islam. The very first example in the history of Islam is shown by none other than Sayyidina Bilal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, when his master heard that he had accepted the deen of Islam. In order for him to leave the deen of Islam, go back to his old deen, in order for him to become an idol worshipper, that master of his punished Sayyidina Bilal radiyallahu ta'ala. He put him onto the desert soil that was hot. He took heated stones, placed it on his chest. Sayyidina Bilal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu screamed with pain, but at the same time, he continuously said these words, Allahu Ahad, Allahu Ahad. That Allah is one, Allah is one. And they tried everything to deter Sayyidina Bilal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu and take him by hash away from the deen of Islam. But Sayyidina Bilal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu displayed his firm commitment towards the deen of Islam. As Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, that a person should feel bad, he should feel discomforted to leave the deen of Islam and goes towards another deen. Here, Hazrat Bilal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was forced to leave the deen of Islam, but he was not prepared to leave the deen of Islam simply because he had love for the beloved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He had love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that even if his life was given, even if his life was taken by force, Sayyidina Bilal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was not prepared to leave the deen of Islam. That is a commitment that this great Sahabi Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam showed. Similarly, dear brothers, we need to work towards our iman. We need to compare our iman towards the iman of these Sahaba Ikram. That in the battle of Badr, the Sahaba Ikram were outnumbered. There were very few in comparison to the Kuffar Makkah. The number of the Sahaba Ikram was merely 313. And an army that was ill equipped, very few swords and spears they had. They were not prepared for a war. But when the hukum of the beloved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam came, they were now prepared to give their lives for the sake of Islam. That was a commitment that these Sahaba Ikram had shown towards the deen of Islam. Then we look at the example of Sayyidina Imam Hussein radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, on the Battle of Karbala. It is a display that Sayyidina Imam Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu showed on the Battle of Karbala, that he gave his life for a principle of Islam. He gave his life. He didn't feel that, you know what, okay, let me, just what you call that, make these people happy and change my stance, and to say, well, from now onwards, a leader can be of that nature where he is not a practicing Muslim, where he could change certain principles of Islam. Sayyidina Imam Hussein radiallahu ta'ala knew the character of Yazid, the changes that he was going to bring, and he was a person that was going to make marrying sisters jais, etc., and he was not prepared to accept a person of this nature as his leader and as his Khalifa. For that, he stood up for his principles. And he saw his children getting killed in front of him. He saw his close friends being killed in front of him, his nephews being killed in front of him. But that did not deter Sayyidina Imam Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu one bit. The love for Allah, the love for his Rasul, the love for the Deen of Islam remained in his heart to such an extent that it could not be removed. He was prepared to give his life. That is the type of iman we should have. That Sayyidina Anas bin Malik radiallahu ta'ala anhu says that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, three such conditions, three such habits, three such qualities when a person possesses, then he will enjoy the love of iman. And that is to love Allah and His Rasul more than everything of this dunya. Number two, to love any person simply for the sake of Allah. And the third is to leave the folds of Islam. It must be hated to him, it must be disliked to him, like how a person would love, like how a person would not like to be thrown into the fire of hell. This is how a person must feel to leave the Deen of Islam. That he would never leave the Deen of Islam, come what may, even if it means his life is taken, even if it means everything is threatened that is close to him. He's prepared to lose everything and go for the jihad, and prepared to give his life just for the love of Allah and His Rasul. This hadith is narrated both in Bukhari and Muslim. I make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He give us a tawfiq that we have this kind of love in our heart, and that we must have iman of that nature, that nothing was able to deter us from the Deen of Islam. Jazakallah khair, wa ma alayna illa al-balaghul mubin.
لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان